Hello and welcome. If you're living and working far from home, this is one of those topics that's just so important, but we hardly ever talk about it out loud. So today, we're going to dive right in. We're going to walk through a guide for handling those financial requests from family, not with guilt, but with a real strategy for support that can actually last. Ah, that message. It can pop up on your phone at any moment. And wow, does it carry some serious weight. On one hand, it's home, right? It's love, it's trust. But on the other hand, it can kick off this whole wave of pressure and stress and this quiet anxiety that just sits with you. It's such a simple question, but the answer? It's anything but. So let's get into the why. Why does this feel so heavy? To really get a handle on these requests, we have to understand the emotion behind them. And let me just tell you, it has almost nothing to do with spreadsheets or budgets. It's all about our culture and where we come from. Okay, this slide right here, this basically frames the entire conversation. For so many of us in so many cultures, success isn't just about you. It's a team sport. You don't just succeed for yourself, you succeed for your family, for your community. So when a request comes in, it doesn't feel like someone's asking for a favor. It feels like they're calling on a shared resource, and that resource is you. And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Every single time you have to decide whether to send money home, you're not just doing a bank transfer. You're navigating your entire identity. Are you the good son, the successful daughter? Are you living up to what everyone expects? It is so much bigger than just the money. Now, all of that emotional and cultural pressure gets even more intense because of this huge disconnect. There's this massive gap between how things look from back home and what's actually going on in your day-to-day life. And this comparison says it all. The view from home is often one of pure abundance. Oh, you're earning in dollars? You must be rolling in it. But your reality? Your reality is probably something more like structured survival. You've got crazy high rent, taxes, bills, maybe some debt. You're trying to just make it work. And that gap in perception, that's where so much of the stress and misunderstanding comes from. So what happens when you mix all that pressure with just giving whenever you're asked? Well, you fall into what we can call the generosity trap. It's this cycle where you're constantly just reacting to emergencies instead of building any kind of real plan. Just take a second and think about it. Does it ever feel like as soon as you put out one fire, another one just immediately pops up somewhere else? I'm telling you, that is not a coincidence. It's a pattern. It's a cycle. And it is exhausting. You know the ones, right? It's always something urgent. School fees are due tomorrow. There's an unexpected medical issue. The rent deadline is looming. And while every single one of those is a real, genuine problem, the bigger issue is the total lack of a system. When you're constantly just putting out fires, you never ever get a chance to actually fireproof the house. And that's the key takeaway right there. This constant state of emergency makes it impossible to do any long-term planning. Not for your family back home, and certainly not for your own future. It just keeps everyone locked in the stressful cycle of dependency. And let's be really clear about what's fueling this whole cycle. It's guilt, plain and simple. Making financial decisions based on guilt or pressure is one of the absolute fastest ways to destroy your own financial stability. And listen, you can love your family with all your heart and still be smart and disciplined with your money. The two are not mutually exclusive. Okay, so we've kind of laid out the problem, right? The pressure, the cycle, the guilt. Now let's talk about the solution. And it all starts with a huge shift in how you think about helping. It's not about stopping your support. It's about getting smarter with it. This slide is so important. Think about it this way. There are two kinds of support. There's consumption support. That's the money for today's bills, today's rent. It's a short-term fix that basically guarantees there's going to be another bill tomorrow. But then there's investment support. This is about building for tomorrow. It's funding a small business or paying for an education, things that can actually break the cycle of dependency. So how do you make that shift? Well, the main tool you need is boundaries. And I know, for a lot of us, that word sounds selfish. It sounds disrespectful. But the truth is, a boundary is an act of long-term love. It's what protects your ability to be that stable, reliable person for years to come instead of just burning out and having nothing left to give. All right, so changing your mindset. That's half the battle. Now for the other half, the practical, actual steps you can take starting today to build a better system. Let's get into the toolkit. Here it is, your 4-step game plan. First up, you set a fixed support budget, a realistic amount you can give every month without feeling stressed. Step 2, you start to categorize every request that comes in. Is this a genuine life or death emergency, or is it more of a lifestyle upgrade, or is it an investment? Third, you shift from just sending cash to creating structure. Maybe you pay the school directly. Maybe you pay a supplier for a small business. It adds transparency. And finally, and this one's the hardest, you have honest conversations. You have to communicate and set expectations. And running through all of these steps is one golden rule that you cannot break. You have to secure your own foundation first. You cannot pour from an empty cup. It's not selfish to build your own savings and investments. It's what guarantees you'll actually have something to give in the long run. So when you start to put all these pieces together, the goal becomes really, really clear. This isn't about choosing between your future or your family's. It's about building a future where you are strong enough and stable enough to support them effectively. And that leads us to a really tough truth, maybe the hardest one of all. You can't save everyone. As much as you might want to fix every single problem that comes your way, you just don't have the capacity. And trying to be the hero for every single situation is the fastest way to your own financial collapse. And this right here, this is why it all matters so much. Because think about it. If you completely drain your own resources trying to fix everything, you don't just stop being helpful, you actually become part of the problem. Your own financial stability is the greatest gift you can give your family. So think of it like this. You can be a beautiful fountain that makes a big splash and then runs dry, or you can be the quiet irrigation system that waters the field season after season. Sustainability, helping consistently over the long term, is the highest form of love you can offer. It is so much better to be a steady, reliable pillar for years than to be a one-time bailout that leaves you with nothing. Look, this is a journey. It's about moving away from that reactive guilt and moving toward a proactive, strategic kind of love. It's about being sustainable and, in the end, being more supportive than you ever thought possible. So the real question is, are you ready to stop sinking and start building a smarter way forward for you and for your family?